Okay, I would like to open up this video with a bit of a opening slash prelude because there is some explaining to do. Okay, so what you're about ready to see here in a few minutes is me in the past, more specifically on December 25th, 2016, on Christmas Day, when I got the Steam controller as a Christmas gift from my sister and her husband. It was going to be my first unboxing slash review for this channel, but unfortunately I could never really fully get the video to render properly on my old hardware. Back when I had my old Core i5 4460, it really didn't like rendering videos all too well. However, now that I have my Ryzen 7 1700 set up, I can now finally do that. So, yeah, like some sort of weird kind of time travel without the use of a DeLorean or a TARDIS or a really weird chair with a big fan in the back of it, we're still going to be traveling back in time. Also, there might be a telephone box in there somewhere too, I don't know. But still, we're going to be doing some time travel here. And, going to travel back to that magical time of December 25th, 2016. And then I'm going to unbox this thing, pull it out, say I'm going to give my thoughts about it, and then we're going to travel back to the present day. Or at least the present day when this section of the video is being recorded. So, here we go. Travel back in time, and then we'll travel back and forward in time. So again, pretend we have some sort of magic time travel special effect right now, and doodly 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 doodly. There we go. Back in time, here we go. Hello everyone, welcome to the first video of this channel. Yes, my gaming channel. Hooray! This is my computer desk with my keyboard, my mouse, there's my monitor, there's my computer, nice, my messy room, a cup of water, my wireless dongles and shit, my Darth Vader, my Dalek, my Brock Lesnar figure, which I really adore. Look at him. Can you see him? Anyhow, so this channel is going to start off a little bit small, and then it's going to go a little bit higher and higher. So the first thing I'm going to do for this gaming channel is put something gaming related on it. So, without further ado, let's look at what I'm coming from here. I use a Microsoft Xbox 360 controller, and it works very well. This is my older one. It's white. It's got the old gray color scheme, and it doesn't quite match up with the rest of my desktop. You know, everything's black and red and, orange right there. And, I do like my gaming keyboard a lot. It's a Cooler Master Octane keyboard. It's a gaming keyboard with all the lights and fancy stuff. It's a little bit dirty, but it gets the job done. But I still can't exactly get my head around PC gaming with a keyboard and mouse. I am a long-time console gamer. I grew up with a Nintendo when started working my way up, and I really can't get my head around a keyboard and mouse for a lot of games. And the Xbox 360 controller, while good, it doesn't exactly work for everything that is like that. It doesn't exactly work all that great for first-person shooters and quick access and stuff like that. And it does have its limitations, and yes, I know the keyboard and mouse it's perfect tool for everybody else except for me. But there was one piece of electronic good that came out a couple years ago that has been a bit of controversy for quite a few people, but I know exactly who this controller was made from. And, well, let's go for it. It is the Steam controller. Yes, I'm going to do a somewhat unboxing video on this thing. I'm going to take it out of its packaging, and, show it off. There's plenty of videos about this thing, but I want to actually unbox it first, use it for a little while, and actually give a full-out review. So this isn't just going to be a unboxing video, okay? This is like a precursor to a full-out review, because I really don't like just unboxing videos. I think they're not all that great. I mean, you're just taking something out of a box, whoop-de-frickin'-do. So, anyhow, there's a little piece of plastic. I'm going to see if I can do this one-handed. Get the little piece of tape off of here. If I could get that little piece of plastic. I might have to get a knife, but we'll see. I'm usually pretty good with this sort of thing. And it came up. Nice. Alright. This is a little bit ridiculous. I do apologize for that. It's unfurled. Another piece of tape, which is fine. Let's see if I could get under it with a thumbnail or something like that. I should have brought a knife or something like that, but I do have something down here. In fact, I'm gonna just get that out now. Sorry for the delay on this, but I got flathead screwdriver. A rusty flathead screwdriver, but a flathead screwdriver nonetheless. So, let's see if I can poke that. It's a little bit too small. It's a little bit too small for this. It's not sharp enough. I shall be back. Okay, I'm back, and I got myself a nice knife. So, let's see if I could get this sucker open one-handed. I don't know if I could do this or not. I've never done this sort of thing before. So, I don't know what hand I should try this hand with. Maybe my dominant one. Yeah, there we go, there we go. There we go. Because I'm crap cutting with my left hand, even though I'm actually left-handed. But I've never been able to do things with my left hand except for right. Anyhow, sorry for the rude interruption there, but there's the Steam controller with the Nestle logo. Take it out. Sweet. Okay. So what else we have? We have some batteries. We have the dongle. And we have, what else we have in here? We have a little instruction manual, and we have over here the little extender for the dongle, so you can plug it in. Okay. And what else? It's a little end here. There. At least this is different than your typical unboxing video, where I'm actually struggling like crazy to unbox something, which is entertaining in itself. And there's the micro USB adapter. So I could use this wired, hopefully. So yeah, unboxed. And there she blows. Now, like I said, this is only a precursor. This is going to be part unboxing video and full out review. Okay, I'm going to actually use this for a couple days. This actual video won't actually come out until long after I record it, which is on Christmas, so this is going to be a post-Christmas video. I'm just going to go use this thing, get used to it. I have actually held one of these before, and it did fascinate me. It did catch my interest, and I thought it would be a good thing for me, because, like I said, keyboard, mouse, not good for a long-term console gamer. Okay, for a PC gamer, something like this is really silly. I get that. But for me, this is perfect. Okay, I've seen videos with with people talking down on this thing, but I think it's the perfect choice for me, and I'm going to prove that by actually using it for a little while. I have used it briefly, so this isn't really a first impressions video. So I'm going to actually use it, and see how much I like it. I'm sure we're going to get along quite well. So when the next part of this video comes up, which is going to be a few seconds for you, but quite a few days for me, you'll see how I feel about it. So see you then. So here we are, in the future. Well, the past by the time you watch it, but it does not matter. Let's at last talk about the Steam controller. Its pros, its cons, my score, and how I feel about it. So let's do this. Let's first talk about the pros. The first pro I like to talk about with the Steam controller is customization. Now, it is true in most normal cases, a controller is never going to give you as much customization as you could get with using a keyboard on the PC, nor is it going to give you the accuracy that you could get with a mouse, okay? A mouse is very precise when you're talking about first-person shooters, and a keyboard is also quite fantastic when we're talking about, what keys you want to use. However, the Steam controller does offer a nice little bridge for those who are new to PC gaming, because of its customization. Basically, with the Steam overlay in the Steam software, you can make these buttons and controls do whatever you want and assign them anywhere you want. For example, if you didn't want your face buttons, your A, B, X, Y buttons, to be down here, you could actually assign them to this right trackpad. You can even assign those to the left trackpad. You could even assign those to your thumbstick. Although I don't know why you would do that, but still, it is there. You could even assign your buttons to your triggers and your bumpers up here. Assign them to those buttons there. You could even assign buttons back here. So, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. There's even 3 more buttons when you press down on both of these thumb pads and the thumbstick. Those are also button clicks. So, yeah, a whole lot of things you could do with this thing. So many things you could do with it. I often call the Steam controller the Swiss Army knife of controllers because of what you could do with it. Sure, it cannot do everything you want it to, but it can do a whole chunk load of things you want it to, which is pretty cool. And the fact that you can do it all within a single piece of software is all amazing. Although you having used Steam is both a positive and a negative, but we'll get on to the negatives when we talk about that. So still though, pretty cool. The second positive I like to talk about with the Steam controller is build quality. Now, it is true, compared to like a 360 controller, I don't feel that the Steam controller is as well built as one of those, but it does feel on par with the PlayStation 4 controller. Now, I don't know firsthand about the experience with the Xbox One controller, but I at least can compare it to the 360 controller, and this definitely does not feel as good as the Xbox controller. Okay, it's definitely not on par with that. The 360 controller, for me, is very well built. It's very well constructed. This thing doesn't feel as solid. It doesn't feel as heavy. For me, in my opinion, the 360 controller is perhaps the best controller ever made. Although, I do like the PlayStation 2 controller a lot as well. Both of those controllers are, in my opinion, 2 of the biggest contenders for the best controller I've ever used. But still, though, this thing does a pretty good job in terms of build quality and feel. So, good job on that. Third pro going on for the Steam controller is battery life. Now, it is true that at this time period, I have this thing wired up using a reinforced USB braided cable that is connected into my computer. Before that, I had 2 separate sets of batteries. I had the original Duracells, and then I replaced those with Energizers, and both of those brands gave me roughly about 3 months apiece. Pretty good lifespan. So it's been 7 months since I got the Steam controller, so relatively recently, about a month or two, I have been using this as a wired controller. So, yeah, pretty good battery life, you know. Sure, yes, I have indeed given up the wireless ability, but this is more of a personal preference so that I don't have to keep on getting batteries all the time, because batteries are kind of expensive. And if you are a Xbox controller user, you would know exactly how that feels. You know, your budget is partly given to your battery, so I just rather just leave this thing wired. But that's all personal preference. So, without any other delays, let's talk about the cons for the Steam controller. The first con I'd like to talk about the Steam controller is, well, its unusual shape. For me, there's nothing wrong with your standard controller design. Comparing the Steam controller to the Xbox 360 controller is night and day. The 360 controller has your thumbsticks, two thumbsticks, your D-pad, your back button, your forward button, your home button, your triggers, your face buttons, and the way that the 360 controller is laid out is quite logical. There's just a symmetry to the 360 controller that I don't feel is met by any other controller except for the Xbox One controller, which makes sense because they're made from the same company. However, when we're talking about the Steam controller, yeah, its design and layout is definitely quite strange. But don't get me wrong though, once you get used to it, it's quite fantastic. But, when you first pick this thing up, you do need time with it. You need time to play with it, to get used to it. In fact, the best way to know this controller is to ask somebody, hey, do you have a Steam controller and can I play with it for a little while so I could get used to it? That's the best idea because that's how I got into it. If I didn't have anybody who had the Steam controller on hand for me to play with, I probably would have just stuck with the 360 controller or got an Xbox One controller or another PlayStation 4 controller to hook up to my computer. So, good thing they did because I do like the Steam controller quite considerably. Still, though, it is something you will have to learn. It's something you have to get used to. So that is a big con going on for this. The second con going on for the Steam controller is how uncomfortable it can be. Yeah, seriously, this thing, I often said to others, it's like holding a 360 controller upside down, and that's because of the weird curve it has. That curve is something you really have to get into. And for me, I feel that if I don't pick up this controller every day, my hands would just start cramping like there's nobody's business. Seriously, I've had serious hand cramps on this controller, and and it's not because I have small hands, because obviously my hands are quite large. But the Steam controller, it's fairly sized, and you think that would fit okay, but no, it doesn't. It's something that you definitely have to spend time with in order to get used to its feel. So definitely the second major con going forward. I do hope in the future Steam, if they have a redesign of this thing, include some sort of like grip or rubber gripping on the side, because without that, this thing does get quite uncomfortable. So the third con going on for this is its biggest benefit is you need Steam software. Now, yes, it is true there are third-party tools out there, at least on Linux and on Mac. Windows I'm not too sure on, but I do know there are third-party tools, but they're not as good with this thing as the Steam overlay. The Steam overlay is the one thing you definitely need to make this thing work. So, if you're not into the Steam ecosystem, this thing will hold you back. I mean, then again, if you're not a fan of Steam, then this thing should not be an option for you, but still, if you want to get into the Steam ecosystem, this thing is quite good, but at the same time, though, the fact that you still need the Steam overlay for this thing to really function is a con. And, it's not a total con because it does work with a majority of the software out there, but there is one category of software that this thing doesn't work with, and that is Windows Store games. And yeah, those things do not integrate into the Steam library at all. You need a third-party tool to even get that remotely possible, and even there it doesn't exactly work properly. So if you have a lot of Windows Store games, this thing is not going to work for you, which is unfortunate. But I'm not going to blame Steam for that, because Microsoft really wants you to use their APIs and their libraries to get their games with, and it's ridiculous. I think Microsoft really needs to reconsider using like executables or easily linkable files that link to for their Windows Store software, because there's only so much that Steam can do with their user interface. I mean, yeah, you could blame a lot on Steam, but I think Microsoft has more to blame than Steam does. At least in my humble opinion. But if you play a lot of games from Good Old Games, or Origin, or Ubisoft's Uplay, or whatever, this thing's going to work okay, but you need to port those games into the Steam library regardless for them to work properly. Still though, with all those things, what's my final score with the Steam controller? Well, if I had to give it a score from 1 to 10, I would give it a 9. Basically, 9 means it's pretty darn good. The only thing really holding it back, in my opinion, is its discomfort. Most of the other things I think we could work with, or work around, like the Steam overlay. I think we could live with that. But the discomfort and the, need to pick it up every once in a while, I think is a big deterrent to this thing. Comparing it to the comfort level that you get in the 360 controller, it is a big drawback. Anyhow, when I return for my next video, it's actually going to be on this thing, which is the Red Dragon Indra gaming keyboard that I recently got. I got that about 2 weeks ago, and I do have a video already on that, so I'm doing this out of order. I'm going to be doing this video after I made this one, but I'm going to be posting this video first, so even more time travel. Hooray! So yeah, when you next see me, it's going to be actually back in the past again, but this time in the week of July 4th, when I recorded the video for this thing. So still though, I'll see you then. I'll see you around, and take care for now. Ta-ta, and see you later. Bye-bye.